Welcome to the UdderTwaddle podcast.
Episode 10.
We made it 10. I think it's a milestone. Commando thinks I'm stupid.
It's just double digits. I mean, it's 10.
I guess it's not as important as hitting 100.
Yeah, when we get to like episode 52, which would be a full year's worth of podcasts,
that would
then
be more
I
impressive.
will celebrate. We get to episode 100, I'll be happy, and that would be a milestone to celebrate.
Well, we are doing this weekly, in a relatively sometime by Saturday fashion, or
Saturday or Sunday, depending on what life allows. But it's pretty much every week.
Yeah. You'll see one every weekend at some point to just keep those alerts and the subscription and the bell rung and all that jazz. And you'll know when things post.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I am Cow Patty.
I'm Commando.
And we are venturing into a topic we talked a lot about this last week between ourselves about...
And someone new we need to introduce you to.
Yes. They're the invisible lurker in your bank account.
The overlord Bob.
The basically building on a budget.
Yes.
It's a terrible thing when you have, well, you explain it better.
Bob is a bastard.
Okay, that was not the explanation I was looking for. I meant the three things.
Well, yes. Bob is, in my circumstances, my point of view is Bob is B.O.B., building on a budget. Mm-hmm. Bob is baking on a budget. Mm-hmm. Bob is blasting on a budget.
Bob's the bastard of the budget. That's what I think. I'm sorry if you don't like that word.
Overlord Bob. Bob interferes with every project and every single thing that you want to do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because
you always
we're not made of money.
No.
Everything has to be done on a budget.
I can't grow it on a tree. I can't pull it out of places that I won't name.
The dark recesses, and yeah.
But it's a terrible thing. But at the same time, it motivates more creativity to me. It
does. And this topic is something we've been, kind of talking about a lot this week, between the two of us.
We have a lot of projects between us that we'd like to do or are in the middle of, or we're stopped because of Bob.
We're about a month out from 3 years that we've been in this house.
We bought a house 3 years ago.
Bought the house 3 years ago.
And this is our first, and as far as I'm concerned, our only house. Because when we first went looking for a house, we decided we are not going to buy a starter home.
Yeah,
I hate that term. It's annoying.
A lot of people were throwing that around. Oh, this will make a good starter home. Yeah,
you can start living a little bit and then move on.
I don't want a starter home that I'm going to buy, live in it for 5 or 6 years, put time and money into it, and then sell it because we need something bigger.
And for me, I don't think it's relatively affordable or reasonable to ask someone to do that. And I know the American dream is all about owning a home and everything like that, and that's part of it.
Oh yeah,
if people want to jump into the American dream immediately,
get something that you can get just to get yourself into a home, and then you can always upgrade to a bigger second home.
I mean, and we lived in apartments for
a long
10
time.
years or so, or even longer than that. For so
closer to 17 years.
The motivation for us, I think, was the apartment living is you can't modify anything in an apartment.
Well,
you can't change your environment.
They're small. They're cramped.
Yeah.
When we first moved here, to the DFW area back in 99, we're
going to date ourselves with this.
We had very little furniture. When we moved into the first apartment we got here in the DFW area,
we had a bed, couple chairs,
had a lot of space. We had a couple of computer desks. We had our bed. We had a few chairs, and that was really about it. And we bought furniture over time, filled out the apartment, bought more furniture, bookshelves. And
you do tend to accumulate things that if you don't get rid of things,
ended up being
you become a hoarder.
Wall-to-wall furniture in every room
hold on.
Of the apartment.
It was not a hoarder apartment.
No.
In any sense of the way. It was just, we felt that we had, this was a good spot for a table. This was a good spot for chairs.
We'll put just the computer desks over here in this corner.
You know,
we want the entertainment center, to put the TV and the
we need
Xbox
computer
and the
desks
PlayStation on, and then we need bookshelves to hold the books and the DVDs and, blah, blah, blah. And, we want a bigger couch, so let's get a sectional, and that's going to take up, this whole corner of the room.
Yeah. Anyway, that's way beyond the point. The point is, we wanted a house. We wanted to have space. We wanted to have room to grow and live.
The apartment was way too small and too cramped for all of the stuff that we had, collected.
And my point with the whole thing is, I honestly think a starter home is a ridiculous concept because you put yourself into like a 30-year mortgage, and then when you finally can go, I'm going to upgrade, you go to another 30-year mortgage, and you pay for a house for the rest of your life.
Yes.
I mean, you pay until you're dead. Almost, because they put you in 2, 3, 4 homes or whatever. If you move around a lot, it's unfortunate. But why? If you can just stick in your apartment or find a cheap place to live, stay at your parents' house, save the money, keep it going till you can afford the one place you want. The place you want to live, and then just do a 15-year mortgage, because in the end, it's cheaper. In the end. And
yes.
You're paid off before retirement. So, when you retire, you don't have to pay a giant mortgage payment every
We
month.
found this beautiful house. In my opinion, it is a beautiful house. We love it.
It's not a mansion, but it's got space.
It's a good-sized 2-story house. Mm-hmm. 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath.
That's kind of bragging, but it's
just saying it's got plenty of room for us now, with room for
expanded family
additional
yes.
Members of the family, and or space for guests to visit and things of that nature. Basically, the point was having the room ahead of time instead of having to say, okay, well, we're going to get a 2-bedroom house, and suddenly it's too small and we've got to move out and get a bigger house.
Okay, but the whole point of the whole buying on a budget thing, that's part of it, is being smart when you jump into buying a house, because you want to be able to get exactly what you want out of it. You should think well ahead. Think a year or 2 ahead of when you want to buy a house, what you want out of it. And what we specifically wanted out of it is we wanted to be able to design it our way. We wanted certain types of aspects.
Not really design it, because it's already designed, it's already built, but we had, renovation ideas in mind.
No, I had specific design ideas for every single...
Well, no, like I said, the house was already built. It was already designed. It is what it is. All we can do is renovate and decorate the way we want.
No, but when we went looking for houses, what I'm saying, we went looking for specific
ideas in mind, yes.
Mm-hmm. And that was what I'm...
Well, we're apparently defining the word design differently.
Okay. Mine is I wanted the feel of the house to be open and have lots of space.
Yes.
True.
We wanted, obviously to have, our master bedroom, but we wanted office space for her, her art studio, office space for me.
Where you can have your own bat cave.
Yes.
Sort of
so I've
situation.
got, my bat cave, and that's why we went with, the size house we did. Like I said, it's 4 bedrooms. We've got our bedroom, 1 bedroom is her office, 1 bedroom is my office, and we've got 1 guest room, or will eventually, hopefully, be a kid's room.
Mm-hmm. But, okay, the concept of the house when we decided and talked about it was we wanted this to be open and big, but also each room to be specifically different, because we wanted to make it kind of like a holodeck house.
Yes.
We're very geeky.
We're big Star Trek fans.
Huge Star Trek fans.
And
watched them all.
The concept going into it, which our realtor just loved the idea.
We explained it to her when we were looking.
I will tell you right now, if
you live around here,
in the DFW area and looking to buy a home or sell a home, or you're looking to move to the DFW area to buy a home, let me know. I can hook you up with an awesome realtor.
We could find her link or her website or something, and I'll put it in the contact details.
She is fantastic. She is fierce and driven and will get you
exactly what you want. Even if you're crazy and you have this crazy concept idea, explaining it to her was like, okay, we want to have a holodeck house. I want to have the living room and kitchen to be either separate or combined in its own concept.
Yes.
We want the living room to look like a...
Well, we didn't want too much open concept.
No.
Because, like she's saying, we went into it with a plan, a holodeck house. Each room will be decorated in its own theme, like a holodeck on a Star Trek ship.
When you walk into that room, you're going to experience a different feel, a different look.
Eventually that room will be sort of immersive. When I get done with my office space, when you walk in, it will look and feel like you've stepped into the Batcave.
Yes. And, you know, the whole wall of Nerf is going to be the Batman arsenal area. It's going to be awesome.
Not that Batman does guns or anything.
I wanted my office to be like a wizard's tower. I mean, like Merlin's tower, Dresden's office, combined with Harry Potter. Very much like a wizard's
tower. Very magical alchemist, you know, magic. Yeah.
I do have a corner of the office. I'm starting to collect owls of different shapes and sizes, toys and things, so I can have an owlery. And I've got specific design ideas for everything in the house, if we can ever get past Bob.
Yes.
So,
and that's been the issue, is doing this on a budget.
Now, I'm going to let our geek flag fly in the sense and kind of explain a little bit of what we're talking about.
Flash you a bit of our nerdery.
Yes. So, my ideal of the house is when you walk in the front door, it's kind of like the shuttle bay of Star Trek, with the engineering office to the left.
To look like the engineering section.
Yeah. It would be awesome if we could get the pocket door thing to work and make it look like
my idea was, the front entry, to design it to look and feel sort of like a teleporter room. That's where you arrive on the ship.
Okay, so front entry, like more like a teleporter, but like going into engineering / the laundry room. Mm-hmm. It would be really cool if I could figure out a way to make, I don't know, maybe a tubular warp core design that's kind of like a fish tank. I don't know. It'd be really neat. I just think it would be cool. But not with actual fish in it. Just for the laundry room effect. Mm-hmm. You know, it's water. It's cool.
Yeah,
it'd be neat.
You've got the warp core.
Yes.
And then going through the laundry room takes you out to the garage
that's
I want
be a shuttle bay.
Decorate to look like a shuttle bay.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's going to take a lot of work.
Yeah.
But then we've got a small dining room, and I want it to look a little expansive because I'd like it to look like Hogwarts Great Hall.
Yes.
We have one of the Hogwarts tapestries and some, I'm working on a couple of art pieces for the wall that are based on each house. And we've collected some Harry Potter items like that.
We've got a sorting hat.
The sorting hat and stuff. So,
and we've looked into wand stands, to display wands, and maybe get, one of the Nimbus 2000 brooms to hang on the wall, and just sort of really just, geek out on the Harry Potter decor in the dining room.
I need to find some, and this is what I was thinking about as far as budget-wise design. I was going to look for some really cheap, or make some really cheap, wooden picture frames. And just make multiples of them, and then print out some of those, rules that Umbridge, set out at the very beginning, and have them, half smashed in the corner.
Yes.
Just, those are the ones that still fell in the corner and were smashed.
Well, and I've also got ideas that are restricted by Bob for the moving picture frames.
Yes.
Like in Harry Potter, the moving pictures.
Now, those I'd like to see in my office. I mean, in some parts, because I've got a weird slanted ceiling spot. That would be great for picture frames. That
idea is to get different size LCD screens. You can get them for, single board computers like Raspberry Pis and Arduinos of varying sizes. You can get, like a 4-inch screen. You can get 7-inch screens, 10-inch, all the way up to, purchasing laptop screens for 11-inch and 13, 15-inch laptops.
Computers have gotten so small. I mean, little Arduinos and stuff.
For a bigger picture frame. Well, you get the LCD screen, you tie it into a Raspberry Pi that's enclosed in the picture frame, and then you can run a black and white video clip.
And kind of a repeat.
Of a moving person, on a loop to look like a moving picture.
It would be really great.
And then you encase it in a picture frame and hang it on the wall.
What I really would love to do is if I could get a family reunion situation and get people to dress up and get our nieces and nephews to film a couple of scenes together. Mm-hmm. And you could run it across a couple of different picture frames. One person running from one picture frame to another to tease each other.
Because, you can
have
sync
a whole
up
living family photo.
You can sync up, the video playback, so all the video clips start at the same time, so they're synced up. So when, person one in, picture frame on the left side of the room moves out of their picture frame. A couple of seconds later, it's timed out, so they walk into the video clip of the one on the other side of the room where it looks like they're moving between picture frames.
I can totally see our nieces, nephews, and
having a lot of fun.
Brothers having a
that.
ton of fun with that. So I think it would just be, if you set it up, then we just have the video session and then you play it and we could just keep it forever. It would be awesome. Other concepts and things we're talking about is, we want the living room. For me, it started off as like we were going to separate the living room and kitchen, but now we're combining them into like kind of a rustic lodge feel. I wanted to have that at Christmas time, that
woodsy,
Norman Rockwell
log cabin
Christmassy.
Out, in the woods, hunting lodge, or country home. You've got grandma's kitchen. You got
grandma's kitchen mixed with like a hunting lodge feel. Yeah. I just think that would be so awesome. Very
wood surfaces, a lot of, open, wood.
I mean, right now we're kind of,
wood
we have
trim,
a lot of tile.
Yeah.
And we'll eventually remove the tile, and
go with hardwood floors.
Again, Bob is a bastard.
Overlord Bob getting in the way.
So we've accumulated some really rustic furniture that has a little cow print on it, because,
it's us.
It's us.
Hello.
Exactly. So it's very Texan too. I mean, so it's a very homey feel for living in Texas, and it works well. And with the kitchen cabinets being wood and already kind of prepped for you, it's not as much work. It's just going to take some little decoration and, maybe we're still going to need a kitchen renovation because there's not enough baking space.
No, because I've got to run it. We've got a good amount of cabinet space.
We need a
but
longer
I've only
island.
got a single oven. I want
we need a double
oven. I want a double oven badly.
Yeah, so that's kind of in the range of we would have to renovate
because
the entire kitchen.
if you know me or if you've paid attention to the previous episodes, I bake.
A lot.
It's one of my hobbies.
Well, and it's kind of a kitchen therapy thing for you.
Yes.
You when you have a stressful time.
It is very therapeutic. It is very meditative. I get in the kitchen, I start measuring and mixing, and I get focused and sort of in the zone, and I shut everything else out.
And it's a beautiful thing. I mean, well, the results are a beautiful thing. Your bread is delicious. Your cheesecakes are delicious. I mean, anything you develop, and I'm in awe of it because I've tried. I mean, it took me a year, I think, maybe, to figure out how to make waffles right because I couldn't get the balance right. It's a baking thing. Waffles are a baking thing. Honestly, it's all about measurements and balance and everything like that. Whereas I'm a wild kind of, I love to throw things together. I mean, I take Cutthroat Kitchen pretty much on a daily basis of this is what we've got, make it happen.
Yes.
And I like doing it. I like kind of going, I've got this and this and this and this. Let me Google some ingredients. That's a recipe I could probably do. Add my own flair to it. Bring it to you. And I love seeing the happy smiles on you and, roommates and people's faces and go, hey,
we've touched on that previously, that the way you cook, you can get away with that.
Yeah.
Because you're cooking and tasting as you're cooking.
Yes.
You can add a little, seasoning here and seasoning there and get it tasting the way you want.
Exactly.
With baking, you can't really do that because you're not going to know exactly how it tastes until it's finished baking.
And
because textures change, flavors change as they bake. Certain flavors get stronger as they bake, and some get weaker as they bake.
And I think that's an aspect of our creative things. Like, you're very meticulous, mathematical, you're very formula, you know what will result in what. That's your kind of thinking and what you enjoy when you make things creatively. And I kind of go, let me get the finger paint out and see what I can make, but I do kind of get a little, I get messy. Yes. I do get very messy.
I'm very much more ordered and logical in thinking and preparation and execution. You are raw chaos.
I say it's managed chaos. I manage it.
Slightly.
That's what I do at work. I literally manage chaos all the time.
Well, yeah.
But that's my job. So
you try and bring a small bit of order to the chaos.
I do. And that's how I create things. Yes. I kind of go, okay, we need this. How do we get to that point?
Well, and that actually comes in handy a lot when Bob gets in the way.
Exactly.
Is you learn to adapt and work around Bob.
Yeah, because you can...
work within Bob's limits.
One of the recent things I started thinking about was because originally my office space, I wanted it to be like huge, like a lot of bookshelves and all this kinds of stuff, and I couldn't afford to build custom bookshelves and everything and make it look very, Well,
not yet.
Not like Dumbledore's office with all those bookshelves everywhere would be awesome. But, so, okay, I dismantled an old bookshelf and made the wood panels into floating bookshelves because with some cheap, wood and metal brackets, because that's what we had at the time. That's what I had a handy. One of the bookshelves I had fell apart, so I took it apart and used the wood. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of figuring it out. I'm looking at crafting tables now because I really want a big table space that's not a folding table. Folding tables are very handy. I mean, you can fold them up, throw them away, put them wherever you want. You can use them for dining room, living room. It doesn't matter. Folding tables are...
Yeah, well, not really throw them away, but...
Well, they're...
Put them away, yes.
Put them away. They're handy. So when you're starting off, that's what you got. Right now, I'm trying to figure out how can I use small half bookshelves and a big wood panel, make my own crafting table. I have some ideas in mind. Again, Bob gets in the way, but it's probably cheaper than other routes. So there's options. Anyway, basically, like we were explaining earlier, the whole the whole house concept idea is we were inspired quite a bit from Star Trek. So we obviously have a bridge. We got lucky in locating... Are you okay?
Yeah, kind of.
You have this very strange look in your face and you're pinching your nose.
Yeah, be very, very happy that this is a podcast and not...
A smellicast?
Not a smellicast.
What are you smelling over there?
Apparently Oberon's backside is...
oh, Lord.
Trying to get involved.
Oberons are very large...
furry dork.
Yes.
He's a German Shepherd mix. He's very big and...
Apparently his farts smell badly.
Oh, yes. I mean...
I'm sorry, we totally derailed there.
Yeah, that just crept up out of nowhere. And wow. Okay, back on topic.
Okay. Back on topic. We're broadcasting from our bridge.
Yes, the bridge.
The bridge.
Which is... Technically, you would call it a den.
It's an upstairs room above the other living room.
Yes, it would technically be a den, a family room, media room.
I think they had a pool table in here.
The previous owners had like a little card table, poker table, and a pool table.
Yeah.
In here that they moved out. This we use as our bridge, our command center.
We've got where we have
our media room, gaming room. This is where we have our
TVs.
Primary TV. We have our Xboxes set up. We each have one so that we can, play games together or separately.
Fairly inexpensive lounge chairs to sit in when we game and stuff. And
then we've, on the back side of the room, we've got workstations, set up with our computers.
So have you ever seen Star Trek? It's somewhat of a round or octagonal room typically in Star Trek with the screen in front and then the consoles.
Yeah, and then you've got your pilot navigator seats up front.
And then the captain's chairs.
And in the back, you've got like the security station and engineering station science, and operations.
Yeah. So kind of cutting out the whole captain's section. If you just have the front two chairs and then you've got the back with the computer stations. That's basically what the room looks like. Is we've got computer stations in the back and we've got the screens in the front. Mm-hmm. And we broadcast from the computers in the back. That's what we're working on.
That's where we have our, microphones and, the mixer and, everything set up here in the back of the room.
Yeah. So that's why it seems very spacious. If you hear it, it's kind of echoey and sometimes.
Because when we get finished with this room, it will be painted up and decorated to look like a starship bridge.
Yep. I want to have one of the flags hanging for the Federation.
We've got a Klingon flag and yeah.
I want to make some hidden bookshelves too, because they've got those. This is again an issue that because Bob gets in the way. In Next Generation, they had kind of a fabric-y sort of wall to it. It seemed like fabric to me.
Yeah.
So I thought, it'd be really cool just to have
panels and
hidden
such.
panel bookshelves, with just like panel doors you could tap on and they'd pop out. And just put fabric on them so it blends with the wall and you would have extra storage space.
Well,
and I think that would look really
along
cool.
the
And it would dampen sound.
sort of open hallway that leads out of the bridge down to the stairs, it's like an open hall. And I plan on putting up crown molding and baseboards with LED lighting to kind of look like Starship hallways. I mean, we've got this planned out.
All of these plans.
But Bob is a bastard.
We have not done it yet. But if we can get like these sort of archway style hallways to where, you've got the rail that goes on the sides and everything, as well as the panels on the sides. Mm-hmm. And the L-car black panel, if we could light it up, that would be awesome. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about, if we can modify one of those doorbells that, you can get video from, as well as like make noise and stuff.
Well, again, I've got plans for that, integrating, an Arduino or Raspberry Pi into the existing doorbell. Mm-hmm. So that whenever you push the button outside the front door, instead of ringing the standard bell, it will trigger a circuit in either the Raspberry Pi or the Arduino to play a custom red alert.
And then run the lights all around the hallways of the house.
Yep. Change the LED, lighting in the hallways and stuff to red.
Red alert.
So that even if you're upstairs and don't necessarily hear the doorbell,
you can see the red
You'll see the red flashing lights, and
you won't miss it.
The red alert will go off throughout the house so that you will know, no matter where you are in the house,
that somebody just rung a doorbell.
That somebody's at the door.
Well, see, and we talked around originally of if we could get if we could get all the door frames kind of fashioned out like an archway. In the holodeck archways, they always have a computer panel right there. There's always like this computer panel where you input stuff on the doorway itself. And we talked about if you could get like some Apple Minis or something, like iPad Minis or something like that.
Small, like 7-inch Android tablets.
Or little Android tablets, and mount them in a picture frame or something that's flush with the wall or inside the, just carve out the... What is that?
Just
trim or whatever.
You mount them, in the wall with, a trimmed frame around them.
Tie them to the house network.
Exactly.
So if somebody rang the doorbell, you could just hit a button and you could see the picture of whatever's viewing outside. Or
you could do that, but also for each tablet in each room, they're addressable. You could set them up, each room, on, say, its own Skype account. So you could actually have video chats between rooms. You could call a specific room. Mm-hmm. And, have a video chat with someone.
Now that I think about it.
And it could be tied into, say, the Google Home systems.
Those
or
little mini
Amazon's
Google Home
Alexas.
discs. If you had a mini Google Home little disc, I don't know what they're called.
Yeah, the Home Mini.
Yeah, the Home Minis in every room. And you could communicate to a room. Because I know we've done this before. You can broadcast to a specific...
Home Mini in a specific room. Or you can actually create an audio group, which I have one created for our Home Minis that I've got called Shipwide, so I can broadcast Shipwide to all of the Home Minis in the house. Which we have one down in the bridge, we've got one in the master bedroom, we've got one up here in the bridge, and I've got one in my office now.
You mean in the lodge? We have one too.
We've got one in the lodge, which is the living room. But the lodge.
Again, we've already thought of it.
In the master bedroom, here in the bridge, I've got one in my office, we've got one for her office, but it's not set up yet.
I haven't plugged it in yet. I just put it in the office.
You can broadcast music, to that audio group, to where you can listen to music shipwide. So if you're going from working in the kitchen or down in the lodge, and then coming upstairs, you can still hear the same music anywhere you go in the house. You can.
I just like the fact
broadcast messages shipwide, alarms, reminders. So you could tie all that in, with a tablet, for video chats or messaging between rooms, between offices.
And the reason we chose the Google Minis is because of Bob, because they're super cheap.
It's like, it's a modern, home intercom system.
Yeah, basically. And that's why I just think it would be cool. I think it would be neat. But it's also one of those things that's probably the last thing on my list to get. Because you want the house to be designed first before you do all that extra bits.
Exactly. We want to change up the door frames to look like the holodeck archways. Except
for the upstairs bathroom. Because the upstairs bathroom is specifically to look like a TARDIS is wedged in the wall.
Yes. In fact, that door is already painted blue.
Yes, we have that.
We just need to add the window blue accents to the top of the door and the banner across the top that says police box.
Yes. So we are obviously Doctor Who fans as well.
Yes. We're just all around geeks.
Yes. we're fans of everything. But the cool thing I think about the whole upstairs bathroom, it's one of those like married bathrooms between two areas of the house. Like one door is in my office on the far end and the other door is in the hallway, like on the other end of the house almost. It's like it's like a long bathroom.
It's connected. One side is connected to a bedroom, which happens to be the one used as her office space. So you can openly walk from that bedroom into a small half bath area that's basically just a sink, and you could put a vanity table in, you know, and stuff in that area if you wanted to. And then you can go through the door into
the shower, and then where the toilet
bathroom
is
proper, where the toilet or bog is, the bathtub and shower. And then there's another door that goes into another small half bath area that's just another sink and mirror, medicine cabinet sort of area.
Kind of like Brady Bunchy in my head.
It has a door that opens out into the hallway at the other end of the house where the other two bedrooms are.
The cool part about it is the fact that it seems like it's bigger on the inside. That's why I love this idea. So I've got both doors. The one in my office looks like it's wedged in my office wall. And the one in the hallway looks like it's wedged in the hallway.
Yes, painted, TARDIS blue. Like I said, still need to do the window accents and whatnot. But the interior of the bathroom, we're going to sort of paint up and decorate to look like the inside of the TARDIS.
Now, there's so many different designs of what the inside of the TARDIS is at this point. It's hard to kind of go, well, we've talked about the David Tennant style, but we might be restricted by Bob and just have to go with what we can.
Well, and that's one of the benefits of having it be a segmented bathroom, where you've got separate sections with different doors.
Yeah, you could design one section like...
One section could look like, say, David Tennant's TARDIS, and the other room could look like Matt Smith's TARDIS, or Tom Baker's TARDIS.
Or the original Doctor's
TARDIS, yes.
I thought the white wall with like the circles would look really cool, and if it was a functional circles, you could like fit towels or candles in the little circles.
Well, again, if you do some frosted panels and put LED lights behind it, then you can have those circles light up.
That would be neat, especially in the front section. No, probably look better inside the actual proper bathrooms. You'd have a lot more light in there because that one light in there. Anyway, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah,
it's always about. It's a marriage between creativity, money, and upgrading. Like, you want it to be functional, but you want it to look awesome.
Well,
and function is part of the design aspect for me. I want it to function the way it's supposed to.
And that's part of what we were talking about earlier is any project has basically three parts. You've got time, money, and motivation. Mm-hmm. And 99 times out of 100, you only have two of those elements. You have time and motivation, but not the money, because Bob's a bastard.
Or you
have money and time, but not the motivation.
You're just not going to do it.
Or you've got the motivation and the money, but you don't have the time.
You have no time to do it. You're like, that's when you start paying somebody else to do it.
It's very rare that you actually have all three elements at the same time.
It's a terrible thing. But that's part of life. I mean...
So a lot of times you have to...
you just have to balance between it and hope you can plan ahead for that motivation. Plan ahead for the time. Something, You
have to work around it. If you have the motivation, if you have the idea of what project you want to work on and you're motivated to do it and you've got the money to get the supplies, tools, etc. for it, but you don't have the time, how do you work around
Okay, so let's start with that. Let's go into how do you work around Bob. Okay, so if I have a project that I'm like, okay, I want to build something amazing. Okay, right now I have planned to make my office look like a wizard tower. Mm-hmm. I have kind of a past, I'm a very naturalistic person. I would say almost druidic sense of spirituality. I'm not going to go into it, but I love the aspect of having a natural tree in my office. And I thought, oh my God, Hogwarts has the Whomping Willow. And I was like, okay, I would love to have part of a Whomping Willow in my office. And I just think it would be really cool. So, okay, then I thought about, I want it to be functional. Okay, because I don't like something that's just decorative. I like something that's creative as well. So I thought, okay, I'm going to make it like a cat tree. I want it to be something my cat can climb, that can be safe. And okay, what does my cat love? My cat loves to scratch cardboard. Okay, we just moved into this house. We have a ton of cardboard. Okay, so my creative thought is I'm going to create a giant cardboard tree that goes up my wall and make it look decorative, functional, and artistic.
Also, if I might interject.
Sure.
Luckily, Amazon sends us regular cardboard shipments.
I figure we're not going to run out of cardboard ever at this point. So, instead of recycling, which we do recycle all our cardboard and cans and stuff here in the city. Right. So instead of doing that, I started collecting and keeping the better looking pieces of cardboard, and I experimented. Well, first I went looking at Home Depot and Lowe's, and I kind of browsed around to see what options of how I could build things. And I saw these big cardboard tubes that they pour concrete in, and they were only like $10 a piece.
I don't even think they were that
I think they were maybe 8 or 5. They were fairly cheap, but they come in like 8-inch or 12-inch or round circles diameter. Mm-hmm. And they're fairly tall. I mean, they're like 6 feet tall. No, 4 feet. About 4 or 5 feet tall.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6, depending on what size you
get. So I thought,
okay,
okay, well, they make. My cat's, she's small. Minerva is small.
She's tiny.
And yes, her name's Minerva, and she does look like McGonagall. So,
did I mention geek?
Yes. Did
earlier?
We mention this? So, circular. I got one to experiment with, and I cut out like a 3-inch piece, and it was like just a straight round circle, and it held together really well. So I took strips of cardboard. I stripped each cardboard down piece onto 3-inch strips, and I wrapped them in a circle, like a really tight spiral, and fit them in that piece of cardboard. And I set it down on the floor in my office for a while, and she ran over to it and just started scratching at it and loving on it, and just
it's like a cardboard scratch pad. Yeah,
it's a cheap cardboard scratch pad I made myself, and the way I spiraled it is I just used packaging tape, which we had plenty of at the time, to keep the spirals tight. Mm-hmm. And I just fit it in. So I was like, okay, step 1 complete. I know how to build this. I know I'm going to make rings of discs. So I measured the wall, figured out where the studs are. I made one error last weekend. I didn't tell you about. Okay. I measured where all the studs are, and I bought those drywall bracket things for when you can't find a stud.
Anchors. Yes.
Well, I was drilling. And yes, I know I'm probably going to ruin this house for any future people. I want those cardboard rings to fit to the wall in certain places, so it's very sturdy, so she doesn't fall or anything. So I am screwing a couple of them to the wall. Well, I apparently picked a longer screw than necessary, and I screwed into the wall and through my the back of the medicine cabinet on the other side. I didn't realize that was there. So, yeah, I'll have to unscrew that and patch it and fix it.
Okay. 1.
I thought it was a stud when I hit it.
1. Be more aware of your workspace.
Yes.
2. I'm not planning on there being future homeowners for this house.
Yeah, so
I'm planning on this being our house forever, and they will drag my dead, bloated 120-year-old body out of this house in a body bag.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about future owners ruining the house, for them, because, like I said, I'll be, 100 plus years old, when they're dragging my bloated corpse out. I'm not going to care who owns the house after that.
So that's okay.
So you can Swiss cheese it for them. I don't care.
Okay. Well, so I'm in the progress of building this cool looking tree thing, and I will take photos, and I don't know how to do what is it, stop motion photography or whatever to speed it up over 6 months and make it look like it's building it. I forgot the word.
You mean a time lapse.
Time lapse. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. So I don't know how to do that. So I'm just going to take some photos right now. I'll film here and there, and I will show people when it finally gets completed.
Because you lie. You know how to time lapse. You've time lapsed our footage in previous podcasts.
Okay, so I do know how to do it in short bursts, but I don't know where I could mount a camera in my office that will stay put and not get knocked over by a cat.
Well, and
moved around
because of the time constraints of Bob.
Mm-hmm. It's being parted out for the last 3 years, and I'm still not done.
Budgeting time and not just money. Yeah, there will be days or even weeks between
progress. Yeah.
Yeah, between progress. So yeah, you wouldn't want to just turn on a camera and let it record until you're done, because you'd have weeks of footage where nothing happened than you just walking in and out of your office, and you'd probably get some great footage of Minerva doing her gymnastics around the office, climbing up on top of everything and jumping around the room.
And she does, because you occasionally hear the dogs bark.
She does,
because she's jumping around.
But
that's fine.
Hear her jumping around up here.
But okay, that was my creative solution to figuring out how I could afford to do this, because I knew what materials I had. I knew there were cheap materials to find. Screws are relatively cheap in the long term once you kind of buy them off and on. Mm-hmm. So hey, I'm going to have a really awesome centerpiece to my office when I finish. And I hope everybody loves it, because I'm going to love it when it's done. So yeah, there you go. Now, when it comes to your hobbies, I know that we've discussed ways of saving money. I mean,
well, as far as, Bob is concerned with my blasters and my office, we have slowly parted out putting up a pegboard wall in my office. It is 4 foot by 10 foot.
Size of the wall. Yeah.
Size of the wall, pegboard that I can hang and display blasters on.
So it's going to look really cool when we're done.
You hit the podcast last week, it was, kind of an intro to my blaster hobby.
I wish I'd talked more, but I was really more enamored by all the blasters.
Really kind of fun, and that was just a basic look into. Once I can get the workspace set up in my office to where I've got a larger working area, to set up the camera, I want to start doing, some videos on the actual modifications of the blasters. The rewiring and upgrading motors and switches and wiring and spring upgrades, shell modifications and things of that nature. So some of that stuff, will be coming in the future. And a lot of that is mostly money constraints.
Well, yeah, because
is setting up the tools and a good workbench and mounting a camera and so on, and I just have to kind of nickel and dime that as I get little bits of extra money in my budget. I get
overtime here and there. We can make it happen.
I get a few things here, a few things there, and just make it work.
And I was thinking more along the lines of actual blaster hobby, because in many of these Nerf blasters, Boomco, all those kinds of products, they do get kind of expensive. I mean, the new ones are especially.
They do, and they're getting more expensive every year.
Because they're getting more popular. Well, and they come out with more interesting builds.
The Nerf brand in particular from Hasbro is getting a lot more expensive. Mm-hmm. A lot of the bigger blasters that were just debuted at Toy Fair. Was it last weekend, the weekend before?
I don't remember.
I think it was 2 weekends ago. They had Toy Fair in New York. That a lot of the newer blasters are coming in at about $100 a pop.
And that's insane.
Well, these are bigger electronic, motorized, high-capacity blasters.
Well, it's because of the motorization and the electronics and all that kind of stuff. They're adding a lot more to it.
They're getting into bigger stuff. They've got one coming out they're calling the Titan. And it's a very large minigun, basically.
Okay.
Rotating barrel.
Yeah, I know what a minigun
rapid fire,
is. Yeah.
Minigun with a 50 dart drum.
Dang.
If you saw, if you tuned into the podcast last week, I believe I showed off a 25 dart drum.
I think it was a 25 dart, yeah.
Drum. The round drum, I think I had one in there along with, all the rest of the magazines and clips. But this is twice as big, and it's a 50 dart drum that's going to come with this Titan. And they've got other, blasters, along that line. They come with their own rechargeable battery, so that bumps up the price. But you've got the other brands like Dart Zone and Buzzbee and X-Shot that are bringing in, they've stepped up their game and they're bringing out, some really, really slick blasters at more affordable prices. So their sales are going up.
Well, but as more of these blasters and stuff come out, the shelf space isn't changing in any stores. So they're going to start removing stuff from shelves. Mm-hmm. They're going to send it down to lower stores like Ross. Is a great place to buy. Discount.
Yeah, Ross for stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a lot of clearance sales. They drop the prices a ton, and you can pick up stuff.
I'm trying to think of where else you can purchase like stuff that's.
Well, if you're looking for new, then yeah, you wait for sales and pick up stuff on sale.
Keep an eye on Amazon because eventually when we start running out of stock space
for a lot of this stuff, if you're a modder and you're planning on dipping into the internals and upgrading springs and changing stuff like that out, those are the parts that wear out over time. Mm-hmm. You replace a spring or you replace motors, with faster, higher torque motors, upgrade the wiring, switches, and so on. Then you can go out and hit thrift stores, hit garage sales. You'll find people that are selling off their kids' toys, their blasters. A lot of stuff gets donated to places like Goodwill.
Goodwill's a great place
so you
for finding
go
furniture.
On Goodwill thrift hunts, and a lot of modders in the community will do that. You can go out. We went out. It's been about a month and a half ago. We went on a whole, we went on
Goodwill run.
A Saturday Goodwill run, and we hit like 10, 12 different Goodwill stores.
We hit probably 8 Goodwills and 2 or 3 thrift shops that happened to be in the area.
Thrift shops, that weren't actual Goodwills. And I picked up, I don't know, probably a dozen different blasters.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of which, on the shelf brand new would be, $15, $20 a piece, some upwards, to $30.
You're picking up
I picked them up in
like
Goodwill for
$4.
like $4.
6 maybe if it's big.
Yeah.
$3
or $4, and then you can bring it home, you open it up, you upgrade, the internals, do all your modifications, you can sand them down, paint them up.
And even at the very least, if you're a modder and you just need supplies, if you pick up a blaster from a Goodwill, even if the inside is complete junk and it just fell apart, you've got screws.
If it's
you've got extra
broken,
spring. You've got extra parts.
Exactly. You can
keep and you still use for that $3 or $4.
Yep. You can pull all the screws out to have extra screws. If the shell's in good shape, but the internals aren't working, you can use it for a shell integration where you can merge, cosmetically, like the front half of this blaster with the back half of this blaster and put different internals in.
Mm-hmm.
Replace, like I said, the motors and so on, or change out a plunger tube and spring. And
I honestly think that Goodwill is a great place to go just to look around and look for creative things you can do with. Because Goodwill is a place to find old picture frames. Like, they've got giant or small or whatever, like very unique
picture frames of all sizes.
Well, there's a lot of unique pictures, and you don't need to keep the picture. You can just go to look at the frame and use that for something else.
Oh, yeah.
Or,
you can find, furnitures, end tables and things that you can...
Take decorative pieces.
You can turn around, you can sand down, refinish, reupholster.
Oh, my God.
And...
I wasn't even looking for stuff like this, but we went looking at one of the Goodwills, and we came across a paper towel holder for the kitchen. Because it had a giant cow on it. It has a cute little...
And a little ballerina tutu sundress sort of looking thing.
It looks like a grandma cow.
Adorable.
And I was like, that fits the grandma kitchen. We've got to get it. So I was like, we're getting it. I'll fix it. It's wonky. It just needs a little bit new base or something.
Yeah, we'll make it work. Reinforce it, tighten it up. Yeah, make it work.
You never know what kind of gems you're going to find. I mean, shoot, I found we were looking at toys, and I saw this really wild-looking thing. It was an octopus sort of thing with a exposed brain, and the jaw, and it
single eye Cyclops looking octopus. Yeah,
it's a Fisher Price toy that I saw, and I found it. I picked it up
for like $4.
Yeah, I picked it up for $4. I hit Amazon to find out what it was, and somebody was trying to sell one for like $99, and I was like, okay, that's insane.
Yeah,
this one obviously doesn't work. There's no like an internal all the mechanics in it. The mechanical parts work.
Yes.
But the electronic parts don't work. Like, it's supposed to talk and do stuff.
And that's just a matter of opening up and finding out what's wrong with it and rewiring.
Find out what's wrong with it. But I want to redesign it.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool looking thing. It reminded me of Cthulhu, and you're the one that told me you should make a Cthulhu.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God.
We can paint it up, and yeah.
We'll I'm going to make a
Cthulhu.
Well, it might be a Cyclops type Cthulhu.
But
because it's one eye. But
the whole
it's
point
cool.
of that is one way of getting around Bob.
Yes.
Is like I said, we went on this blaster hunt through thrift stores, and I picked up, like I said, about a dozen different blasters of various sizes, capacities, and I think I ended up paying a grand total of like, what was it, $55, $60, $70 maybe
for a ton of stuff
for all of the blasters that are, a lot of them are still available to order brand new, or go find in the store. But comparing the $65, $70 I paid on the Goodwill run to what it would cost to buy them brand new, I paid $65, $70 for about $300 worth of blasters.
That's a really good deal.
That's a very good deal.
Even if a quarter of them are not functional anymore, you still get parts out of them. And that's worth the price right there. I mean, easily. And this type of thinking does not have to limit to, just toys and stuff. You could, around here, I don't know if they have them other places. There are secondhand bookstores. If you want to find collections of books, secondhand bookstores are a great place. And we have a half price books around here, which are like, you literally can buy books for half price.
Yes.
Or products for half price. They sell all the time. So if you're wanting to fill out your book collection, that's when we go on a half price run. We go to multiple, discount bookstores to see what we can find and just kind of see what gems you can come across.
We'll map out all of the half price, stores, and we'll make an all day run, and we'll hit, 10, 15 different stores looking for, books to fill in gaps in our collections, so I can get like all the Dragonlance books that I'm missing. Or, look for,
I was looking for
Dresden Files books that were missing, that are still in excellent shape, but you can pick up for half the cover price.
Yeah, and I actually found
because it's technically a used book.
Yeah.
Didn't you get a lot of Agatha Christie hardback books?
I found, I guess it might have been a Time Life thing at some point, but there were these really nice hardback cushioned Agatha Christie books, and I'm going to be a total geek here. I got into reading Agatha Christie after watching the Doctor Who episode about Agatha Christie. Because I saw the Doctor Who episode about Agatha Christie and her missing time and how she was still popular forever. I was like, I'd never read those, and I like mystery novels. So I got hooked on Poirot novels immediately, and then I started watching all the Poirot like BBC series. I went nuts.
She did. She went off the deep end, straight,
I want to watch
down
these
the rabbit hole and went crazy over Agatha
in.
Christie and Poirot. And she's like, "Oh, you need to read these. You need to check these out." And it's like,
okay, so you weren't interested.
I was not interested until Murder on the Orient Express came out.
The remake with
movie. Kenneth Branagh,
yeah,
and Michelle Pfeiffer and all of that came out.
The cast.
Like
it was an amazing cast.
A year or two ago. Yeah. Incredible cast all the way through.
I didn't spoil it at all. I didn't explain anything to them.
I had never seen any of the previous makes of the movie, hadn't read the book, didn't know really anything about the story and what was involved. So it was completely new and fresh to me. And seeing, Poirot in action in the movie, I can identify with the character and some of his quirks and some of the things that just grate on his nerves. I can definitely identify with, and I thoroughly enjoyed the movie, and we'll probably end up diving into some of the Poirot books.
And I liked the fact that when I read one of the first books, and it was the first book from Agatha Christie, and I'd have to look up, honestly, right now. But I read it, and I could not guess who done it. Like, that was what hooked me. Mm-hmm. Because I've read so many, like, mystery novels and stuff, I can kind of go, oh, I know it's this person at this point. And I kind of figured it out by the end. Like, it was given away. Not with hers. I mean, it was like, there was no answer in there until you got to the end and you got close enough and they do the whole review of what he learned and you went, oh my God, how did I not see that?
Yes, and occasionally it may be true, but it's very rare that the butler actually did it.
It's rare, very rare.
But we're getting off on a tangent into books and whatnot. But yeah, whenever you're trying to fill out your library, you can hit like around here half-price books, used bookstores. Pawn shops. Go looking, for tools in pawn shops.
Don't be
thrift
afraid.
stores, to look for stuff.
I mean, when it comes to clothing, same thing. Don't be afraid of secondhand clothing. Just wash it thoroughly. And it's also the perfect thing to do if you want to customize something. If you want to take 2 or 3 different pieces of clothing, sew them together. Yes. Create something unique. That's the perfect place to get material.
If cosplay is your hobby.
Yes.
You can find lots of great stuff that can be converted and or, quote, renovated into your cosplay projects.
Because all you need for cosplay is material.
Go
look for it.
A modder in the community that likes doing leather wraps around the pistol grips on blasters.
Yeah.
And
leather's expensive.
Leather is expensive.
Fresh, yeah.
He'll go out and hit thrift stores to find
old
used leather jackets that...
It could be ripped or torn, doesn't matter.
He will, measure out the pattern and he'll cut up to use the leather to stitch together leather hand wraps for his blasters.
If you're into quilt making and making like little square patches, all you need is material for that.
Yep.
You could go to a thrift store, pick up like a bunch of different shirts, pants.
Oh yeah, find you things. Some flowery sundresses you can cut up into square patches and then just stitch together.
People aren't using them anymore. That's what they're there for, is for use. And you could spend $20 and get a lot of material there. I mean, there's sometimes, if you go to Goodwill, sometimes they actually have rolls of material. If you're looking for stuff, they do have other things.
Yeah.
That's what thrift stores are for. Go be thrifty.
Yes.
Be creative. I mean,
that's to get around Bob when he gets in the way.
Yes, because he's...
As far as, getting around the time aspect... You just have to make the time.
Here's the thing.
Time management is different for everyone. The way I see it, if it's important to you...
You're going to make time to do it.
You'll make the time to do it. And that goes for anything in your life. If you want more family time, if it's important to you, you'll make time for the family. You'll make time for projects or...
The best quality time is accumulative, not... like massive in one spot. Like, okay.
Quality over quantity.
It's quality over quantity. Yes. If you want to go on vacation, you want more time to go on vacation. You want to block out that amount of time. But if you want quality time with your family, spending 5 to 10 minutes a day is accumulative. That's important. In the very least, spend that much time. That's exercise is that way. If you do 5 minutes of exercise a day, over time, even it's just, I don't know how to do a push-up. I've seen videos of some girls who's like, I can't do a push-up at all. And she spends 5 minutes a day doing that. And by the end of the year, she could do like 300. Mm-hmm. She's, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Learning an instrument is about time. It's about the amount of small pieces of time. Yep. Creative projects is the same.
Learn to play an instrument, learning a language. You hear people, it would take me years to get fluent in,
exactly.
such and such language.
Pick up a book. Okay. Start now.
Where are you going to be in 2 years if you don't start learning the language?
Yeah.
You're still going to be where you are. You just won't know the language. If you put the time in, then yeah, in 2 years, you'll still be where you would have been, but you'll know how to speak French or German or Swahili or...
Kind of like this podcast situation is we talked for... 6 months or so.
About doing this?
About doing this?
Yeah, you might want to...
Backtrack a little bit.
like
Rewind.
add a multiplier in there.
Okay. So we talked for a while about doing this, about how we stopped doing radio online for a while. We were like, oh, we really should get back to that. We should get back to that. We should do that. And it was just this moment of, look, let's just do it. We slowly got together, slowly got improved mics, because again, Bob is horrible. So we're like, okay, well, we can afford this now, and then we can afford this now.
Again, having the space to do it.
Well,
we really did not have the space to do it in the apartment.
No.
And since we bought the house, we've kind of been working on, little projects here and there,
our
upgrades on
elsewhere.
the house, and doing stuff like that. And yeah, our focus was, elsewhere. And then we finally,
came back to this.
Got our stuff together and decided it was time to move forward with it.
We're on number 10.
Here we are.
I mean, we're here. And we have other plans in store. And like in my head, I was talking to him today. Well, yesterday. Day before. But anyway, we were discussing, having a cooking segment of like I'd like to actually show people what I do. And I'd like people to see what you do.
Yes.
We talk about it. We should show you.
Yep.
Okay,
We've talked about, filming a few, cooking and or baking videos, to go over, some basics and, a few recipes.
And the hindrance for a while was the fact that we had zero lighting in our kitchen. And it's like...
Yes, we just upgraded, and changed out the light fixture in the kitchen. So we have more light in there now.
Yay, we can finally do this.
Better for recording. So now we can do it. And, depending on,
feedback.
How well received the cooking and or baking videos are. There are certain more private recipes I might be willing to divulge and go over in some videos.
Let's start with some of the basics.
We'll go with some basics, but I'm just saying there's a possibility of some of the more secret recipes that people friends and such have asked me about for a few years.
I don't have any secret recipes.
I don't normally divulge.
Well, maybe my mom's meatloaf recipe. I love her meatloaf recipe, and it's not anything I've ever seen online before. So
quite often I get asked for my cheesecake recipes.
Yeah, that's not happening.
And those I have not given out. I mean, the basic base cheesecake recipe is available. It's out there where anybody can find it. It's
it's out there.
Yeah, it's out there and not hard to find if you really want to go looking for it. But all of the
custom stuff is out of your head. It's from your own creativity.
Yes.
And that's part of the thing of like
turning it into a white chocolate raspberry cheesecake or the Oreo double stuffed cheesecake, peanut butter cup cheesecake.
I've had people ask me for my deviled egg recipe. Mm-hmm. And I could go, okay, I will send you a generally what I used deviled egg recipe, but it's not exactly the same. Because I taste test it.
You don't measure.
Yeah, so I can go, this is the base recipe on how to do it. This is how you can kind of figure it out.
You add a pinch here and a dash there.
But I add a little bit of Frank's Red Hot sauce, and I add a little extra.
It's slightly different
a certain type of paprika.
Every time.
I mean, but it's also a little, it's always different every time. So, I mean, I could give you something that's delicious. Ask me how I made it. You might want to ask me right after I cooked it, because then I could write it down.
Right.
But if you ask me 2 days later, I won't remember. So it probably would be better to have a cooking segment while I'm doing it.
Yes.
And
you could actually kind of follow along and see how it's done and what the process is.
Yeah, that's in my head right now.
But that's future plans. Like I said, I want to and plan to branch out into more blaster related videos, mod videos, things of that nature. Maybe some blaster war footage, of our local Nerf group.
I'm gonna try and do some filming at the Nerf group stuff coming up.
Yeah,
and
we'll
have
more
some
of that
stuff on that.
We definitely want to do some cooking, baking videos. May do some other videos on some other crafting stuff like my chainmail jewelry.
Oh, we haven't even touched on that.
The earrings, necklaces, bracelets.
He made me the most amazing set of jewelry one Christmas because I was like, I don't have any necklaces or earrings very much. I use earrings every day. all the time, but I don't wear bracelets and necklaces all the time. So he made me this really cool chainmail earrings.
Yeah, just another,
But he made like a whole set of them.
Creative
different
outlet.
Colors, different mazes. I mean, they were, yeah.
Yeah, can show off some of the, simple techniques there.
And most of it is simple. It's stuff we learn online. We go, how do you do that? And I Google it, or I go find videos or something. And I'm
again,
curious.
Bob interferes with a lot of that. So there are ways of getting around. There are
a lot of times it's time.
Companies online where you can order, rings already pre-made, pre-cut, in multicolors, just have them delivered, and then you can just sort of stitch them together to make your chainmail creations. But there are, ways you can go and just get, like 18 gauge galvanized steel wire and coil it around, a like 1/4-inch bit to make your own coils, and then cut it with our wire cutters, or if you've got a Dremel with a cutting, bit on it.
That would work, yeah.
You cut and make your own rings, to where you can just, make more rings as you've got the money to go get,
and poof, you can make chainmail.
And you can make your own.
It's pretty cool.
So it's, you can have fun and be creative. And yeah, we've got a lot of projects, that we work on and in the works. And a lot of our hobbies are creative.
You don't have to be limited. You don't have to be limited. It's all about how creative you want to be.
Yes.
Because you can make art from found objects. I mean, hell, I made a dragon out of soda cans one time. I wish I'd still had it. I really do. I lost it.
I think he got messed up in the move.
Yeah. So it was a really cool sculpture, just attached to a basket, made out of crushed and cut up
soda cans.
I cut up soda cans and made them scales. So it was really neat.
Yeah. He was really cool. You may have to make another one of those.
I might have. You know what? That would be a really cool fixture in my office somewhere.
Put it right next to your chainmail dragon.
Oh. And your dragon eggs. Mm-hmm. Oh, we didn't even talk. Do you want to talk about that real fast?
We can.
That would be a whole how-to.
We can touch on that, with, like I said, showing off some of the chainmail. You made me a basket of dragon
eggs, kind of like the whole Game of Thrones.
And you can show off your dragon eggs that I made for you. But yeah, get creative. Have fun with it. And mainly just wanted to talk about how Bob gets in the way of some of our hobbies and some of our interests, because that's basically what this podcast is about.
It's how
about
you have
us,
to be...
about our interests, our hobbies. Discussing all of that, movies and music and games, and how we deal with.
We're creative geeks, and we enjoy it.
Yeah,
we do. I mean, that's just how we are, and. So every day I come up with new ideas and I write down things and go, Can I do that? How would I do that? How can I fight Bob and make it work?
And as we stated at the beginning of this podcast, as we were talking about it this week, and how Bob gets in the way of those projects, which got us thinking about how we get around Bob.
Oh, that stupid budget.
So hopefully, we've imparted at least a nugget.
Or giving you some creative ideas, at least.
Of...
Knowledge?
Knowledge. That's the word I was looking for.
Yes, knowledge, insight, inspiration.
On how to work around
encouragement.
Bob. Yes.
I mean, I encourage everyone to be creative. To think creatively. Don't be restricted. Don't be like, oh, I can't do that. There's no way I can do that. Yeah, there is. You can do anything. If you really think about it.
If you're really interested,
you can do it.
You can put forth the effort and you can do it.
I listened to a YouTuber the other day who's 13 years old. He said that he started with just a phone and a piece of paper and he animated stuff. I mean, and that's how he started building subscribers when he was like 9 years old. And he's 13 now with like 1 million subscribers. And I was like, there's no restriction. You can do what you want to do. If you really want to do it. Just saying.
Well, think about South Park.
Oh, God. Yes! That's a good example.
They got started just cutting out shapes out of cardboard? Construction paper and laying them out on a sheet, taking a picture of it, moving the pieces around to animate the figures.
And they made it as a joke for like a Christmas card for their friend.
And look at where they are now.
And that's what started their whole career. So don't be restricted. Come up with something. If you need help coming up with something, shoot. put a comment. We'll try and help you figure it out. It's like, I want to make this. We'll help you out. I mean, how long?
We'll try, yeah.
I'll give you some creative ideas. Whether they'll work or not, I don't know.
Yeah, we're not necessarily experts, but
no,
we know how to Google.
Yes. Google is also your friend.
Yes, Google is your friend.
And YouTube's your friend.
Ask Google.
Just look for ideas. Figure things out.
Yeah, and don't let Bob get in your way.
Shove him out the door. Tell him, okay, you stay over there in my bank account, and I understand it needs to be full, but yes. I'm going to do this stuff anyway.
Yep. Find a way. Make it happen. Enjoy your time.
Yes.
And I hope you've enjoyed your time with us today.
Yeah, I hope you have enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's kind of cheesy, but...
I know. Yeah. How are you to segue out otherwise?
It's better than just saying, okay, we're done. Bye.
That's how we should end this. All right? Ready? Okay. We're done.
Bye.